It was the newspaper clipping referring to the imminent eclipse. Wrapped inside it was another small piece of paper. It was a bank statement for Ubier's account from an automatic telling machine. The last 5 withdrawals were for large amounts, and all made in Marseille. It was Ubier's bank. I didn't think he'd be interested. He looked like an older version of Labano. The same supercilious expression, the same disdain in his eyes, and the same damned ponytail. It was a machine for reading credit cards. I had no possible use for a credit card reader.
Maybe you can pour absinthe into his
I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Certainly, sir. I'd be most happy to oblige.
You're English?
These days one prefers to think of oneself as European.
Sure. Whatever you say.
And how precisely may one assist you, sir?
What I really wanted to ask you about was a black stone.
A black stone?
Yeah, it's a Mayan artifact, about as big as my hand.
No, sir, one doesn't get much call for black stones. If it's Mayan artifacts you're interested in, I have some rather exquisite pots.
So did I, until that slob smashed it. Have you heard of Professor Ubier?
Of course. His name is synonymous with Mayan art. A number of these artifacts were supplied by Ubier himself.
Do you believe the story that Ubier murdered his wife?
If it was true, who can blame him? She was an opportunist tramp. Well, that's what I heard.
I found this news story referring to a total eclipse of the sun.
Really, sir? Well, fascinating.
Have you seen any of Ubier's wife's films?
Only one. Believe me, I was appalled, shocked, disgusted, and repulsed.
Well, you sure got your money's worth. Last time I went to the movies, I wasn't even titillated. I suppose you have an import license for these relics?
Of course. But that's not my problem, sir. The professor arranges all the shipping. We simply collect the items from the docks.
I have some questions I'd like to ask about those pots.
The Mexican collection? Certainly, sir.
Where did you get them from?
Mexico, of course. I think, sir, we'll find the price extremely reasonable.
Hey, I'm not interested in buying them.
Oh, I see. In that case, you'll excuse me.
I didn't think you'd be interested. Could you tell me which docks Professor Ubier uses to import the artifacts?
Good God, no. I can't possibly reveal my commercial secrets.
Do you get many Central American Indians in here?
No, sir. This is Paris. Central America is several thousand kilometers southwest of here. Straight across the Atlantic Ocean and turn left. You can't miss it.
Well, as it happens, I saw some Central American Indians this very morning.
Tourists, sir. Paris is full of them at this time of year.
There is a gentleman over there who seems to be enjoying your wine.
I can't think why. It was very cheap.
There was nothing else. It was a sturdy packing case.
Dum 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 dum. I'll just go back here, shall I?
Excuse me, sir.
Uh-huh.
That area is private.
Oh, so I'm not allowed back here?
No, sir.
Alright, let's do this.
The glass was half full of wine. I splashed a little absinthe into the glass and hoped he wouldn't notice the change of color.
Whoa. Did you put something in my drink?
Yeah, I did. Well, what do you think?
Well, it's certainly an improvement over Gleese's wine. In fact, I could grow to like it.
Here, have some more.
Allow me. I had no...
Don't mind if I go back here.
There was nothing in the case but styrofoam packing, but pasted on the side was the remains of a label. It was a label bearing a company name and logo. Underneath the logo of a flying bird were the words Condor Transglobal Mars. The rest of the label was missing. It was beginning to make sense.
Marseille?
Oubier had organized Nico's abduction. Oubier withdrew money from Marseille. Oubier was connected with Transglobal, who shipped their goods from a warehouse in Marseille. That's how the torn Transglobal label had once read. Marseille, not Mars. It wasn't much of a lead, but it was all I had. I set off immediately to catch the evening train. It was almost dawn when I arrived in Marseille. I traced Condor Transglobal to a desolate dockside. It was a small sign. The sign read, rightly enough, no entry. A chain-link fence barred the entrance to the docks.
Climb over.
What's the big idea?
I don't know. The dog went berserk for no apparent reason.
He's trained to do that. The idea is to deter any would-be intruder.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just remember, he's a trained attack dog. A killer.
Damn. Better watch out then.
It was a mean-looking guard dog. Here, boy. He didn't look like a sniffer dog to me. That dog looked like he already had more worms than he needed. Without a way of firing the dart, I would never have been able to propel it fast enough to puncture the mutt's hide.
Fine. Fine.
It was the only source of light in the watchman's hut. The spike held a stack of papers which appeared to be shipping documents. None of them referred to Condor Transglobal.
We'll just take this. Oh.
Ouch!
Gotcha. That'll learn you to leave things alone.
Son of a bitch.
Do you know what time it is?
No, I don't wear a watch. As my dad used to say, I'm not into time, man.
Well, you're too early.
Does that dog belong to you?
Nah, he comes with the job. I just feed him every now and then.
More then than now, I'd say. What time is it anyhow?
The big hand's on the floor. Why aren't you in bed?
I can explain everything.
Never mind, I ain't that interested.
What time do you open the gates?
7.
Do you mind if I hang out here till the docks open?
Please yourself, but you'll have a long wait. It's Sunday, and tomorrow is the start of the national holiday. Everything is closed for a month.
Well, wouldn't you just know it? What's the dog's name?
20.
It's unusual for a dog.
It's his registration number. Security dog number 20.
Does number 20 have rabies?
Nah, just a bad attitude. Like I said, he's a trained attack dog. They took him when he was a puppy and messed with his head to make him the way he is.
Ever heard of Condor Transglobal?
Sure. They have a warehouse here.
Well, could I take a look?
Not until after the holidays. Come back in a month.
I have to make a delivery to Condor Transglobal.
Where's your rig?
About half a mile down the road.
And you walked here? Jeez, are you some kind of nut?
Nah, it was easy. I just put one foot in front of the other. Are you gonna let me make my delivery?
Not without the paperwork. You get the papers, you make your delivery, and I get a fat backhander.
I was getting nowhere with the story about being a trucker. Do you know what kind of business Condor's involved in?
I'm paid to guard the gate. Their business is none of mine.
Yeah,
I
love
have these very exotic panties.
Take them away, you pervert!
I'm looking for a young woman.
At the docks? What kind of woman do you have in mind?
You don't understand. It's my girlfriend I'm trying to find.
Well, I ain't seen her, and you should tell her the docks ain't no place for a young lady. They're dirty and they're dangerous.
I'm certain my girlfriend was brought here when she was abducted.
What? Your girl was kidnapped?
Yeah, struck down by an Indian with a poisoned dart.
A poison dart, huh?
I could tell he didn't believe me. Have you ever heard of Professor Ubier?
Me? None of my friends are professors or anything like that.
What's cooking?
Beans. You know a man can live on nothing but beans.
Not this one. Don't you ever get tired of eating beans?
Sure I do. What do you take me for?
And what's the alternative?
Peas. I can't eat them too often, though. They play hell with my digestion.
Have you ever considered changing your diet?
What's wrong with beans and beer?
You need me to tell you?
Nothing.
You're pumping out enough methane here to fill a dirigible. This is the dart that the Indian shot at my girlfriend.
Sheesh. That's pretty weird, but I don't see why you'd expect to find her here.
Take a look at this letter.
That's sick. Did you write it?
Oh, no. No, it's a letter from my girlfriend's admirer.
If I was you, I'd smack him in the mouth.
Well, that's not my style, but thanks for the advice. I gotta go now, but I'll be back.
Can't wait.
The chimney was a metal pipe with a conical hat on top to stop the rain getting in. Ouch! That's hot. The panties would not have been thick enough to shield this level of heat. A short stick of wood floated near the edge of the landing stage. The stick had a hook on one end. I figured it was a boat hook, for hooking boats. Bobbing up and down in the oily water was the watchman's discarded beer bottle. The bottle was just out of reach. Nothing was going to get me into that water if I could help it. I just knew that boat hook would be useful for something. As for the bottle, even if I couldn't find a use for it, I'd cleaned up the dock a little. The platform was held up by a hinged bracket. I couldn't figure out what it was for. Maybe it was part of a structure which no longer existed. The opening in the floor led up into the watchman's hut.
See what happens, huh?
I couldn't reach the dock. I couldn't reach the door without climbing into the room. It was the beer bottle that slob of a watchman had dumped in the sea, now half full of filthy dock water. The label read, "Surge, the beer that clears your head."
Oh no, is he gonna fall down? Poor guy. Let's see if this works. Cool
The
it
bottle
down
was
a
half
little.
filled with water. Maybe it would cool the cone down enough to touch it. Now I could see into the pipe which formed the chimney. That chimney looked very exposed without its cone. The chimney was a metal pipe which disappeared into the wall. The bottle had blocked the chimney, and the hut was filling up with smoke.
Oh no, I thought you could... Oh, that's odd.
It was a box of blank forms. The box contained nothing but blank forms. It was the only source of light in the watchman's hut. No way could I reach the light from where I was standing.
Well, alright, maybe I should go up the other way then, yeah?
I'd better think.
A great success.
It was a large bucket filled with coal. Someone had once told me a piece of coal brought you luck. Who was I to argue with irrational superstition? It was a packet with a picture of a boxer dog on the front. The packet was full of dog biscuits.
How much stuff do you have in your pockets,
It was a
George?
filthy, stained coffee mug. That mug was a health risk. I decided to leave it where it was. It was a box of blank form. The box contained... I realized that that wasn't such a good idea. The saucepan was 3/4 full of baked beans. Baked beans in ketchup.
Yummy.
Wrong, wrong. It was an old iron stove, which heated the hut and the watchman's dinner. Yow! Stove equals heat, heat equals burn, burn equals excruciating pain.
Well, now what?
No. No. The box contained...
What the hell do you think you're doing? Get the hell out of here.
Okay, just hold on to that dog. My arms were... Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy. I felt a slight twinge of conscience as I prepared to give the dog a dunking. It soon passed.
Sayonara.
As I'd expected, the dog could swim like a... well, like a dog. The gates were fastened. Breaking steel padlocks with my bare hands was a feat I'd never mastered.
Let's just climb over.
It read Pont de Nord, fine wine producers. I didn't recognize the label. It was a beautiful piece of 19th century engineering, but not a lot of use to me. I couldn't reach the wheel and couldn't see any point in climbing up to it. The clamp was held in a mechanism which forced its jaws open. I decided not to tamper with the clamp. Those jaws looked like they could snap shut at any moment. It read Condor Transglobal. I'd come to the right place. Now all I had to do was get inside. The sign looked as if it was firmly attached to the wall. Anyway, I didn't really want it as a souvenir. doors looked 100 years old, but they were still very sturdy. A sturdy chain and padlock hung around the door handles. That door seemed to be the only way into the warehouse. There was a little grill set into the door.
Alright, let's not get killed, shall we?
The grill opened from the inside. The din must have drowned out the sound of my knocking. Maybe there was a way in up there. It was a duct from a ventilation fan. The metal housing prevented me from getting to the fan. The window wasn't fully shut. A fine old oak barrel.
Okay.
The window looked like it hadn't been opened for many years.
There's the bad guy.
It was a powerful fan. It was the creep who'd kidnapped Nico, and I had a score to settle. The guy was partly hidden behind a stack of crates. The room was filled with transglobal crates. I wouldn't have been hurt over the din of the fan. That did the trick. The fan clunked and shorted out as its blades were mashed by the boat hook.
Hey, you make any more noise, I break your arms.
That bully needed to be taught a lesson.
Garzak's already mad because we didn't get the stone. You give me any trouble, I'll tell him it was all your fault.
Karzak? That must be his boss. I decided there was a better way to attract their attention. I decided there was a...
Come on.
Come on!
I decided there... The fan was a real mess. A splintered boat hook, dented blades, and a shorted motor. The boat hook was jammed in the dented fan blade. The window was jammed shut.
Alright, let's go down and knock.
Who is it?
Pizza delivery?
I didn't order pizza.
No? This is the Condor Transglobal Shipping Company, isn't it?
I don't like pizza.
Oh, come on. Everyone likes pizza. Maybe he was allergic to mozzarella. Hey,
What now?
look. This pizza's been paid for. You might as well take it.
I told you, I don't like pizza.
Not even with extra olives?
I hate them. Olives are the devil's butt nuggets.
If you know what's good for you, you'll open this door.
What if I don't?
I'll kick your head in.
Okay, I'll come out, you creep.
Run away!
Paris in the fall, the last months of the year and the end of the millennium. The city holds many memories for me, of cafes, of music, of love, and of death. Paris in the spring. Passion, romance, l'amour. I was working in art insurance. It paid the rent, just about. And then, by chance, I met Nico at a private view.
You didn't tell me that you were back in Paris, George?
We should catch up. Let's have lunch.
Nobody move!